Hello, I'm Jared Jascord, and I want to answer a question. Who is the strongest female lead in the Yu-Gi-Oh series? While female characters throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh series have run the gamut from excellent duelists to barely being duelists at all, I think it's important to take a look at them, because a lot of them can be powerhouses in their own right. Unlike a lot of other shonen anime and manga, the Yu-Gi-Oh series does not have a very clear divide in power. With this in mind, I have made what I believe to be the definitive way to test a character's deck and effectiveness in the series, by ranking them based on their effectiveness in the TCG/OCG. How will I do that? Well, let's get into the rules and criteria so we can figure out who is the strongest female lead in the series. Number 1. One deck per character. I'm generally going to play cards they played at their strongest, but all cards they have used are fair game. Number 2. Exclude support their archetype may have gotten in later sets. This is based on cards they used. Number 3. I am also removing the one-of rule that is so prevalent in the anime. For those unaware, this is the rule where a lot of very powerful cards are restricted, not by the ban list but mostly by the plot. For instance, Yu-Gi only having one Dark Magician, Yusei having one Stardust Dragon, etc. They are allowed to use up to 3 unless otherwise stated by the ban list. Speaking of, and I know this is a point of contention, we are excluding banned cards, as it would not be very fair for a character in the original series to have cards that others cannot use because they were banned at the time. This may seem unfair considering that characters in the original series may have a weaker deck compared to characters from 5D's, Arc 5, and Brains, but not necessarily, and you'll see that more when we get into the rankings. With all of this in mind, I will be constructing a 40 card deck to make them as competitive as possible, while remaining true to the character. If for some reason the character has a couple cards short, I will take a few liberties, but the character has to at least have roughly 75% of their deck, which is about 30 cards. Then I will duel them against every other participant in best 2 out of 3 duels. Every victory in a match awards a participant a point. Whichever character has the most points wins. In the event of a tie, I will look at the quality of victories. For instance, a win on Yami Yugi be worth way more than a win against Rex Raptor. And finally, I am power scaling them based on their effectiveness in the OCG/TCG. While their cards are fine and good, I want to see if they actually exist with no outside interference or special magical powers, who would be the strongest female lead. So let's get started. Taya plays a spellcaster focused deck, with the intention to stall the game out and run the opponent resources dry with various card effects. While Taya may not be a duelist and is definitely an underdog here, do not immediately counter out. With access to powerful staples and almost half of her deck being pure destruction, drawing, and recycling, her strategy is to force the opponent to the ground, where her lower powered deck excels, before beginning a slow chip damage field beatdown. Despite this strategy, against any deck with protection or recovery, her deck very much struggles, and her lack of speed and a useful boss monster hurts her chances as well. Despite Taya being the first to admit she's not a duelist, to counter out will be the last mistake to make. Alexis plays a side Rangel deck, based around ritual summoning. The Queen of Obelisk Blue definitely has one of the most offensively dominant decks in the competition, with the Kini being a piercing powerhouse along with non-targeting, non-destruction removal, and being able to easily reach 37 to even 4700 attack with multiple Editons. Along with this, she also has access to the powerful generic staples such as Solemn Judgment, Mystical Space Typhoon, and Call of the Haunted. With this being said, the ban list was not kind to Alexis, limiting one of her most powerful cards, Ben-10, to 1. Along with this, she can often run into unplayable hands if her Ritual Sanctuary is destroyed or she cannot search them. Alexis is one of the best characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and her deck is no different. The rest of the competitors will have to keep on guard when she's around. Akiza plays a plant/rose deck based around Black Garden and Synchro Summoning. The Black Witch herself, Akiza's game plan is disruption, disruption, and more disruption. From blowing fields apart with Black Rose Dragon to throwing rose tokens on the opponent's field, Akiza definitely has a strong game plan if executed. The inclusion of Stardust Dragon, on a technicality, also provides a way to protect Black Garden. While her game plan is solid, actually executing it is the problem. While she has consistency, relying on a multitude of 2-card interactions may hurt her ranking. Despite her deck's relative need for specific combos, how powerful these combos are may just be what she needs in this competition. Zuzu plays a Melodious deck, based around fusion summoning and setting up powerful locks with special summoning Aria. While Zuzu did not have the best showing in the latter half of Arc 5, with her last duel being just under halfway through, her deck is nothing to sneeze at. Melodious have access to a number of protective strategies, as previously stated by special summoning Aria, which protects Zuzu's monsters from battle and targeting. This is exacerbated by using Elegy, who can protect from card effects period. If this lock is set up, it is an uphill battle from there. She also has access to Bloom Diva the Melodious Choir, who cannot be destroyed period and does massive damage against special summon monsters. Unfortunately, setting up this lockdown is easier said than done. If she cannot get the Aria Elegy lock, while she does have access to other combos such as summoning Bloom Diva, the relative lack of options may hurt her ranking. Overall, Zuzu has one of the most defensively dominant decks in the rankings, and we'll see how she does. And finally, Allie plays a Trickstar deck, based around Link/Fusion summoning with an emphasis on pesky burning effects that stack repeatedly. Now, unlike all the other characters, the previous rule with one deck per character really affected Allie and how she will do in this competition. While some may say that Marincess would be a better fit for her deck, I've had people bring up to me that Marincess is Aqua's deck, not Allie's. Allie is more associated with Trickstars and her archetype is more focused on that. So I decided that we're going to give her Trickstars, and if we need to do it in the future, we will give her Marincess. If you guys have a problem with that, I completely understand. Put it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, let's continue on. Allie Zazen has the most recent deck here, and it definitely shows. Trickstars have almost everything. Consistency, an army of powerful links, and a small side of disruption with Trickstar Reincarnation. Allie also has strong recovery with Trickstar Lilybell and the graveyard effect of Trickstar Fusion. If all else fails, Allie has access to the incredibly powerful Trickstar Bella Madonna, which becomes unaffected by all card effects when it's not pointed to other monsters. Despite this, she does have a few weaknesses, mainly getting started in the first place, because if her strategy is stopped, Allie has a very hard time pivoting from this. Along with this, the Trickstars have a difficult time getting over large monsters as they are usually small. Overall, while Allie may have issues in strength, once she gets going, it's nigh impossible to stop. So upon looking at the competition, we need to look at which deck would top all the others. While these ladies brought their A game, with Alexis' strength, Allie's versatility, and Taya's surprising amount of disruption, each character definitely has something that could rank them as number one. However, only one lead can be the strongest. So, the strongest female lead is Allie Zazen. While this may not be a surprise to some, we can't question her strategy works. Withdrawing, disruption, immunity with Bella Madonna, and a surprising amount of consistency, Allie's deck can often end games before they even begin. Allie tops the rankings with 8 points, and can often end games before they even begin. Second place is Alexis. Her game plan is strength and she rocks that game. With a total of 6 points, the only one being able to beat her rituals is Allie herself. After this though, things get a little weird. The rankings after this point are tied between Zuzu, Akiza, and Taya, all with 3 points apiece. So, upon looking at the quality of rankings, I decided on giving Zuzu the bronze medal. While yes, her strategy failed her, taking many losses, her deck still has one of the best outcomes when it does work. Being able to lock out the opponent and do massive damage with Bloom Diva the Melodious Choir. Akiza is 4th place. While her game plan is strong, the ease of access really is what killed her rankings, as often the synchros were taken care of relatively easily and she was left with nothing. And finally, and unfortunately in my opinion, Taya brings it up the rear. While her deck surprisingly took wins off Zuzu and Alexis, when she couldn't stop the opponent, it was just an extended beating until she lost. So unfortunately, Taya is the weakest female character in Yu-Gi-Oh! So that's my video on who is the strongest female lead. If you guys have any opinions, put it in the comment section below, I'd love to hear it. If you guys like for me to do more of these series, put it in the comment section. I regularly do polls on my Twitter over future episodes. Otherwise, I'm Jared Jascour. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.